So recently, Shark and I streamed Bendy and the Dark Revival, and in one particular section, there was a book in the library that was about a mug of cheese. Yes, a mug of cheese. Now, it's actually quite extensive, and at the time, I basically said, "Oh God, no." Nope, I'm done. Nope, I'm not reading all that. Moving on. I refuse to read that.
You know what? Eventually, let's make just a video of us reading. Just make a video of you reading this. Like,
you know, it could
just
probably.
this.
Shark was right. It deserves its own video, its own reading, its own time to shine. So here, for your listening enjoyment, is the story of The Mug and the Maiden, Volume 1 by Sir Wilton Moore. Huge shout out to user Avery_X on Reddit for pasting the entirety of the text to Google Docs. You are a lifesaver and you deserve more Reddit karma. The Mug and the Maiden, Volume 1 by Sir Wilton Moore. Chapter 1, The Dangerous Forest. Once upon a time in a faraway land, there lived a mug of cheese, but it was not an ordinary mug of cheese as you would find in any home or kitchen of the age. No, this mug of cheese was a distant descendant of one of the 3 grand flagon kings. The same kings who had charged on horseback to defend their capital city during the unforgettable conquest of the previous century. To which of these flagon kings he hailed from, the mug was unsure, but still there was honor and courage in his heart. His family line heralded of deeds long past that had forever changed the course of stoop history. Did he have a name? Of course, all mugs of cheese have names. This is common knowledge, just as every fruit bat is really named Stanley. The mug of cheese was named Richter the Cracked. What a name, I can hear you say. Cracked indeed. This mug of cheese bears no damage that I can see. Fall silent, you small-minded bass, for therein lies our intriguing story. Let's begin at the beginning. It was a hot winter day in the forest, one of those days where everything is dull brown. The lake was still, the birds had shut up, and the trees were but sticks in the overcast sky, save for a lone pine that skimmed the clouds above like a painter's brush. It was on this day that Mr. Dobblemouse was in a hurry. He had just been named as Vermin of the Year by the society brethren that lived under the old church, and it was customary for the honoree to bring fine port wine cheese to the ceremony. There were only hours to locate some of the precious cuisine. Fortunately, Mr. Dobblemouse knew exactly where to find it, the dark cellar below the governor's castle. But unfortunately, as he approached the loose plank of wood in the old wall, he failed to realize that the heavy rains that had come during the night had passed moisture into the plank, making it far heavier than usual. Thus, when he pushed the plank with all his might, it lifted just enough to push his body only halfway through. But his strength just couldn't contend with the weight of the plank, and his arms failed. The plank snapped back down, crushing him flat. After all, the story is not about Mr. Dobblemouse. Or had you forgotten the mug of cheese already? I can see how you might connect the two. Mr. Dobblemouse was, after all, looking for cheese, and we were talking about a mug of cheese just before. Sadly, I must inform you that there is no relation between Richter the Cracked and the rodent who is nothing more but smooshed guts inside the wall. Except that there is! For it was the death of Mr. Dobblemouse that started all the trouble. You see, when things die, they tend to smell, and that's just what Mr. Dobblemouse did. But that's not all. His body, hidden between the outside and inside of the wood wall, had made a perfect passage for the hot winter wind. The wind therefore carried the stench of his decaying mouse carcass deeper into the governor's home. Like a snaking, twisting wisp of terror, the smell settled into a little tavern near the courtyard of the castle. Here, soldiers would spend many long hours when there was no bloodlust to soothe with battle. Strong ales and red meats filled the menu from back to front of this rustic, medieval greasy spoon. Mostly, the customers came to look upon the barmaiden, Maxine, who was actually named Rita. Rita was by far the best-looking creature in all the governor's county. There was a beautiful deer woman just over the hill, but no one knew that. By day, Rita scrubbed her tavern so clean you could eat off of it, which was fortunate as it was a place you indeed would be eating since it was a tavern. By night, she served her customers with charm, grace, but mostly with drinks. Did I mention Rita was married? Well, I'm mentioning it now. Rita was married. Her husband's name was James. He didn't do much, until he died. The smell of Mr. Dobblemouse knocked him flat, and that, my friends, was that. Oh dear, this story has barely begun, and already we've killed 2 major characters. Needless to say, Rita was deeply distressed by the whole thing, but 20 or so minutes later, she realized she couldn't mourn forever, and went to buy some cheese. Ah, yes, don't worry, dear Rita. This time the mention of cheese will probably guide us to meeting our focal hero of the tale. Also, this is a good time to start a new chapter.